Ambassador Zethkar had witnessed the fall of 3-star systems. He had negotiated treaties that ended wars spanning centuries. His crystalline carapace bore the scars of diplomatic missions to worlds where the very air could dissolve bone. Yet nothing in his extensive career had prepared him for the sight before him. Human children, no more than 7 solar cycles old, hurling chunks of compressed carbon at each other, while shrieking with what could only be described as pure joy. "They call it playing catch," explained Dr. Sarah Chen, the human liaison assigned to his fact-finding mission. Her tone carried that peculiar mixture of pride and bewilderment that humans seem to reserve for discussing their offspring. The stones helped develop hand-eye coordination. Zethkar's 4 eyes tracked the trajectory of what his scanner identified as a granite fragment weighing approximately 2 kilograms. The projectile sailed through the air at a velocity that would have been classified as a weapons discharge on any civilized world, only to be caught barehanded by a small human female who couldn't have massed more than 30 kilograms herself. The impact force alone should have shattered her manipulator appendages, he whispered, his translator struggling with the concept. "Oh, that's nothing," Dr. Chen laughed, that terrifying sound humans made when they found something amusing. "Wait until you see them play dodgeball." The Galactic Council had sent Zethkar to Earth with a simple mission: assess whether humanity posed a threat to the established order. For 3 months he had traveled their homeworld, documenting everything from their industrial capabilities to their military formations. The data painted a picture of a species that was technologically adequate but hardly exceptional. Their weapons were crude, their starships barely faster than light capable, and their political systems chaotically inefficient. It was only when he began studying their young that the true horror, or perhaps marvel, revealed itself. The human educational facility Dr. Chen called a playground resembled nothing so much as a training ground for elite shock troops. Children suspended themselves from metal bars, their small bodies supporting weights that would challenge a Cromulon warrior. They hurled themselves down inclined surfaces at speeds that triggered his danger sensors, only to leap to their feet and repeat the process with gleeful determination. Most disturbing of all were the games. Tag, as the humans called it, involved pursuit and physical contact that would constitute assault in 17 different star systems. Hide and seek was essentially a stealth training exercise, and King of the Hill, Zethkar shuddered at the memory, was quite literally a battle for territorial dominance fought with the enthusiasm typically reserved for religious wars. "Your species uses recreational activities to condition your young for warfare," he observed, making careful notes. Dr. Chen's expression shifted to something he had learned to recognize as dangerous amusement. "Ambassador, you should see them when they're actually trying to hurt each other." That evening, Zethkar transmitted his preliminary report to the Council, recommending immediate reclassification of humanity's threat level. The response came within hours: investigate further. The Council needed to understand the full scope of human capabilities before making any decisions. The next day brought him to what humans called a little league game. The term was misleading. There was nothing small about watching. Dozens of human juveniles engage in ritualized combat using wooden clubs and a compressed sphere that registered as a Class II projectile weapon. The spectacle itself was mesmerizing. 9-year-old humans hurled objects at velocities approaching 150 kilometers per hour, while their peers attempted to strike these projectiles with wooden implements, often sending them rocketing back at even greater speeds. All of this occurred while audiences of adult humans cheered and consumed various toxins that would have been classified as industrial solvents on most worlds. When a human child no more than 10 years old took a direct hit from the projectile and simply shook it off before sprinting to the next position, Zethkar realized he was witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. That night, he found himself in a human establishment called a sports bar, watching archived footage of something called rugby while trying to process the implications of what he'd learned. The recordings showed human adolescents, not even fully mature specimens, engaging in coordinated warfare using only their bodies as weapons. They collided at speeds that would have been fatal to any other known species, bounced apart, and immediately resumed combat. "Beautiful game, isn't it?" commented a human sitting nearby, noting Zethkar's fascination with the display. "My daughter plays on the school team. She's only 14, but she can tackle kids twice her size." Zethkar's translation software briefly malfunctioned, unable to process the concept of deliberately training one's offspring to engage in physical combat for entertainment. The final piece of the puzzle came during his last week on Earth, when Dr. Chen brought him to observe something called summer camp. Here, human children as young as 6 were systematically exposed to environments that would challenge trained soldiers, scaling vertical rock faces, navigating treacherous water channels, surviving in wilderness conditions with minimal technology, and they loved it. That was perhaps the most unsettling aspect of his entire investigation. These weren't hardened warriors being conditioned for battle. These were children engaged in what their species considered fun. They sought out danger, actively pursued physical challenges that would have been torture to most sentient beings, and did it all while producing those spine-chilling vocalizations they called laughter. When Zethkar filed his final report, the recommendations were clear. Humanity should be granted immediate admission to the Galactic Council with full diplomatic status and every courtesy the organization could provide. Not because they were technologically superior or militarily advanced, but because their children played games that would have broken the morale of veteran space marines. The Council's response came swiftly. Invitation extended with the additional notation that all future diplomatic missions to Earth should include comprehensive psychological support for the ambassador's staff. Zethkar read the message while watching a group of human toddlers attempt to build structures from wooden blocks. Each failure met not with despair, but with renewed determination and that terrifying laughter. He thought of the stone-throwing children he'd observed on his first day and realized the galaxy had just gained its most formidable allies. After all, any species that could survive their own childhood was clearly capable of surviving anything the universe could throw at them.